Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw. Welcome back to another episode of Breaking Brews. I'm your host, Commander Claw, and this is episode 2 of Breaking Brews, specifically for Golbez Crystal Collector. I think it's a super fun commander because it's low CMC, so you actually get to play. And please excuse the glare on the camera. I was literally trying to figure that out right now. But without further ado, let's get into this commander, explain what he does. If you watched the first video, thank you. But I'm bringing you 5 more cards, so let's talk about them. Explain what he does. So the purpose of Spark Double is to add an additional trigger on our end step. If you don't know what Spark Double does, he is a 3 mana blue 0/0 body illusion. He says you may have Spark Double enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature or planeswalker you control, except it enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it if it's a creature. It enters with an additional loyalty counter if it's a planeswalker, and it isn't a legendary if that permanent is a legendary. So pretty much we are playing this to double up our end trigger so we can drain an additional amount of life from our opponents when we raise dead our creature. And that means bring a creature from our graveyard into our hand. So this card is a powerhouse. Powerhouse auto include for your Golbez deck. Unshakeable Tail for 2 and a black, 3/2 body, zombie detective. It says when Unshakeable Tail enters the battlefield and at the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 1. So we're already surveilling anyways, that's great. But he says whenever 1 or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from your library, investigate. You create a clue token, it's an artifact with tap 2, sacrifice an artifact to draw a card. That's good right there because we want artifacts on the battlefield with Golbez. Also, Unshakeable Tail says tap 2 mana, sacrifice a clue, return Unshakeable Tail from your graveyard to your hand. So if he is in your graveyard, you can return him back to your hand. You probably want to mill him anyway, or if you need to mill him or discard a card, this is just a trash card to put into your graveyard to maybe possibly any graveyard fuel requirements. But otherwise, great card because it's already surveilling. You want to surveil your deck anyway to load up your graveyard with powerful creatures, right? That can drain life from your opponents. But you surveil at the beginning of your upkeep and when it enters. Crazy card. Now, amongst the creatures that you want to raise dead or bring back from your graveyard to your hand and drain your opponent's life total at the end step when you have Golbez on the battlefield is Consuming Aberration. Yeah, if you don't know, this is a classic card for 3 blue black, star power and toughness. It's a horror. It says consuming aberrations power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your opponent's graveyards. Yeah, 10 cards here, 15 cards there, another 10 there. That adds up. So if that card is raised dead from Golbez, you're draining that much life in your opponents from your opponents because the amount of cards in their graveyards total. Yeah, this is probably a win con. So another powerful creature we want to bring back from our graveyard is Master of Ethereum for 2 and a blue, star, artifact creature of the Dalkin Wizard. Master of Ethereum's power and toughness are equal to the number of artifacts you control. Well, guess what? You're playing an artifact deck and you probably have a bunch of artifacts on the battlefield. You need at least 4, right? You need at least 4. Okay. And if you have 8 and you bring back Master of Ethereum from the graveyard, you're at least doing 8 damage to each opponent. Yeah. Another win con. Moving on. Now, this card is good for specific scenarios. You need to have cards in your deck to have scenarios, right? Let me read the card so you can think of a scenario, right? Lich Knight's Conquest. For 4 and a black, it's a sorcery. Sacrifice any number of artifacts, enchantments, and or tokens. Return that many creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this is a powerhouse. If you have, honestly, the amount of mana you pay for does not contribute fairly what the amount of creatures you can bring back from your graveyard. If you have a bunch of creatures in your graveyard, like 7, and you have 7 artifacts and 5 mana, you can bring back all of those creatures just by sacrificing all of your artifacts, those 7 artifacts. It's an awesome card. Awesome card. And you know what? That many creature cards on the battlefield, they probably do a bunch of effects to win the game. Value. So we got Transmutation Font, a new card I just discovered. For 5 mana, it's an artifact, right? All you got to do is tap it. You create with your choice of a blood token, clue token, or a food token. This is great just to add more artifacts to the battlefield, right? Then you tap 3, sacrifice 3 artifact tokens with different names, search your library for an artifact card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle, activate as a sorcery. And don't forget, your Darksteel Colossus is an artifact creature card, so you could tutor that and smash face. So, Golbez, the Collector, I think is still an awesome commander. I'm still looking for more cards deep in the archive to help you guys brew him differently. If you know more cards that can just, not even differently, just more cards to add and make a more powerhouse and synergy. But if you guys know more cards, feel free to add them to the comment section to help out other viewers who are looking to do the same and brewing this commander.